MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
A man recovering from serious injuries sustained in a motorcycle wreck is calling on drivers to use caution.
Think about that's somebody's dad or brother.
Plus, correctional officers are demanding the county step up and get them help to deal with jail overcrowding.
Right now, through the whole facility, we only have 6 officers with over 5 years of experience.
And a special honor for a Montanan and pioneering women's suffragist. Good morning and welcome to Montana This Morning on this Wednesday, May 17th. I'm Augusta McDonald. Thank you for joining us. New this morning, you see this blue Razor? It doesn't belong to the person who's hauling it. In fact, a doorbell camera captured it on video seconds after the ATV was taken. Thanks to a program launched this year, Billings police are using more home security video to solve crimes just like this one. Q2's Charlie Kleps has more.
It's in this field where Trevor O'Banion's trailer and Razor used to sit. Instead, when he returned from Denver this past weekend, he found this, the broken remnants of that trailer, evidence that his Razor had been stolen. But fortunately for him, it isn't the only evidence he's been able to find.
It's like somebody kicks you right in the guts.
Trevor O'Banion knows exactly how it feels to have something stolen.
The Razor is something that me and my family do together, and knowing that somebody broke the lock off the trailer and hooked up to it now is doing who knows what with it.
This doorbell camera video shows that shocking moment as it was happening last Friday. While the quality isn't great, you can clearly see his Razor hitched to the white pickup driving away.
It's a whole new level of anger.
That surveillance video from a neighbor's home and these different pictures are exactly the type of evidence Billings police are looking for with their new project, Eyes on the Block.
It's getting some traction. The guys are starting to use it. It's great to have access to it. It helps the case. It helps us identify people in the long run.
The program kicked off earlier this year, and Lieutenant Matthew Lennox says 360 people or businesses have signed up, volunteering to share their surveillance video as helpful evidence.
We're taking the next step to make it easier to use, and then the easier we make it to use, the more it'll get utilized.
And that video is already being put to good use, most recently following the shooting at Barry's Cherries Carnival last month, when a man was killed and dozens of potential suspects of interest fled the scene.
We were looking for more video. I know that they found some videos that kind of helped them piece together where some of the people of interest or some involved parties had gone after.
For O'Banion, it hasn't paid off yet, but he says with the help of BPD and Facebook, he's gotten close to finding the culprits.
Without the people that have reached out to me, there's no way I would have the information that I do now. Very thankful to have the police department and their resources.
In Billings, Charlie Kleps, MTN News.
Thank you, Charlie, and we'll continue following that. Good morning, Miller.
Well, good morning, Augusta.
Welcome
to the hump, everybody. Yeah. Ready for some sogginess today?
I suppose.
Well, there's a chance.
I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose.
Do we have an option?
Well, no, not really. Hey, but hang in there. If you like the drier weather, we do have some dry conditions on the way, but today could be kind of soggy for some. Let's take a step back in time yesterday. It was a warm one, a good 15 degrees above the norm. We hit 82 here in Billings. Our overnight low of 55, 11 degrees above average. Quite windy at times yesterday, especially last night as we had some storms roll through the area. Could still see that again today. We had a little bit of rain off of those storms that came through, so the moisture totals for the month and for the year, we're still in pretty good shape, and we're going to try to bump up those numbers a little bit today through tomorrow morning. Right now we do have just cloudy skies at the airport. Had a little bit of rain earlier. Those showers will start to pick back up as we go along this morning. Maybe around lunchtime today we could see some of the heavier stuff here in Billings. 57 right now at the airport. Winds out of the north at about 10 miles an hour. And you can see where all the greenage is. The rain spread across the Q2 viewing area. Temperatures right now mainly in the 50s. Some of us may not get out of the 50s today, but we'll go mainly 60s across the area. So cooler today as that cold front comes through. But we will be warming up as we head toward the weekend. Another thing we're eyeballing, the possibility of Canadian smoke coming in. We'll tell you about that and a whole lot more with the main forecast here in just a bit.
All right, Miller, thank you so much. Other headlines this morning: overcrowding inside the local jail is pushing workers to their breaking point. Yellowstone County Detention Center officers and their union are now demanding higher wages and more help. Q2's Russ Riesinger has more.
All is calm outside the Yellowstone County Detention Center, but inside, officers say it's a much different picture.
It's very intimidating to deal with the violent offenders we have.
Dania D. Webb has seen a lot of changes in her 20-plus years on the job.
There's a lot of gang members in here in the facility, and there's a lot of fighting going on, and also officer assaults are at an all-time high as well right now.
On any given day, there are around 600 inmates inside the facility, built for only 430. At the same time, the Teamsters Union says the jail has been down at least 20 officers for over 2 years.
A lot of stress on all the officers here. We're doing forced double shifts, which are 16-hour shifts. A lot of them are doing them twice a week. So it's just a ton of burnout right now.
Jake Dunker is another veteran officer who has spent a decade working at the jail.
When I first started, I had so much experience around me training me, and I had at least, we probably had at least 15 officers with over 5 years of experience on the floor. It was well maintained and there was a lot of knowledge. And right now, through the whole facility, we only have 6 officers with over 5 years of experience.
In an effort to address the shortage and recruit and retain more officers, the union is calling on Yellowstone County commissioners to raise the starting wage to $26 an hour. It currently stands at $21.54.
I think at this point, the only thing that we can do is get us to a competitive wage. As of now, I mean, we're approaching that almost fast food restaurant chains are making almost what a new officer makes.
The head of Human Resources for Yellowstone County told Q2 that the county did agree to offer up to a $2,200 signing bonus for new officers who stay on the job a year. Meanwhile, officers say they're concerned what will happen if the problem isn't fixed soon.
And right now we're just begging the commissioners for a pay increase because that's the only thing at this point we can think of that could help us recruit and retain people.
Again, that was Q2's Russ Riesinger. We continue to follow some of the work done by the legislature. Montana Governor Greg Gianforte signed into law a 15-week abortion ban with penalties including jail time and fines for doctors who perform the procedure. This is one of 9 abortion bills the governor has signed, including an immediate ban on dilation and evacuation abortions, the most common type in the second trimester. It does make an exception for medical emergencies. These bills are expected to kickstart at least one legal challenge from reproductive rights groups. The signing comes just days after the Montana Supreme Court upheld a 25-year-old legal precedent allowing advanced nurse practitioners to provide abortions. And new this morning, we're getting a clearer idea of when the nation could hit its borrowing limit, leading to what the Treasury Secretary says could be a financial catastrophe, the likes of the Great Depression. But as CBS's Jared Hill reports, there are signs lawmakers may be getting closer to a deal.
Progress in Washington after yet another White House sit-down on the debt ceiling.
What changed in this meeting was the president has now selected 2 people from his administration to directly negotiate with us.
But still, no deal on raising the nation's borrowing limit, with the Treasury saying there are just 15 days before the nation runs out of money to pay its bills. Businesses like Old Town Books, just outside of D.C., are bracing.
Any financial trend, you see it trickle down to a small business like mine, especially when it's a business that's entertainment, that's optional.
Some potential points of compromise are taking shape, like permitting changes for domestic energy projects, taking back some unspent federal COVID relief money, and adding stricter work requirements to social safety net programs, a non-starter for progressives.
Keep them out of negotiations. They don't work. They are unfair. They're cruel.
But GOP lawmakers are standing firm on those calls for spending cuts.
I think we should seize this opportunity to talk about how we can reduce the rate of growth of spending and debt accumulation.
Default is not an option. America pays its debts, pays its bills.
In a sign of how little time is left, President Biden announced he's cutting his trip to Asia this week short, an attempt to hammer out a deal. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Speaker McCarthy has said he wants a deal by the end of the week. President Biden said that even though he's going overseas, he plans to speak with congressional leaders regularly. Back in Montana, May is Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month, shining light on driving and riding behaviors that could save lives. After Montana became the 3rd state to legalize lane splitting, motorcycle wrecks have seemed to increase. In 2022, 30 motorcyclists were killed in Montana. Plenty more have been injured, including Sean Tyrolt, who was hit on the way home from work in Billings last month. Sean had to spend 17 days in the hospital and has a long road to recovery.
I shattered my tibia, broke my fibula. There's bone missing from my tibia, and I also had a plateau fracture in the head that goes from where the shatter happened all the way up into the joint. There was a fracture.
Motorcyclists ask everyone to be vigilant of riders as the weather gets warmer. They say look twice and check over your shoulder when changing lanes. It could save a life. Did you know a Billings woman played an integral role in securing women's right to vote? School District 2 is honoring Hazel Hunkins with this plaque at the Lincoln Center. The building used to be a high school back in the day, and it's where Hazel graduated from in 1908. She went on to attend the University of Missouri and helped pass the 19th Amendment. The marker is part of the Women Trail, which includes a woman from each state adorned with the suffragette colors of yellow, white, and purple.
One of my favorite pictures of Hazel is she's standing in front of a biplane that she had dropped leaflets in California. Here was a person who made such a difference, not only in her time, but is still, the work she did laid groundwork for us.
Hazel's children and grandchildren now live in England, while Hazel and her husband now rest at Mount View Cemetery in Billings. We've been seeing heartbreaking footage out of Ukraine for more than a year now. Drone attacks and civilian centers hit with bombs. Ukraine's president has relied on support from around the world, and last night Billings residents did their part to contribute to the cause. Q2's Phil Van Pelt shows us how.
Tuesday wasn't just another night for Babcock movie patrons. Every cent brought in from a special showing of an award-winning Ukrainian film goes to help people in the war-torn country.
When the project takes off, there is nothing better. And this happens to be one of those projects.
Marshall Strauss has been a human rights activist most of his life, and the Salem, Massachusetts movie theater owner's latest idea may be his best.
A lot of people wanted to help, but they didn't know how to make it a concrete gesture. So I said, let's show a film and have a fundraiser, and everybody immediately rallied around that idea.
In March 2022, Strauss decided to show a little-known 2014 movie called The Guide. It's based on true events that took place in the 1930s, when Soviets tried to exterminate Ukrainians through starvation and other policies. It draws a close connection to what many in Ukraine are currently experiencing. It drew a crowd of people that night, and Tuesday drew even more in Billings, eager to make a difference.
The Ukrainians, all they want to do is live free and like we are for the most part, and they deserve our support. And we're going to continue supporting them. That's the reason why we're here.
The film has now been showcased in over 600 locations in the U.S., as well as Holland, Canada, and Australia.
When they're involved in this project, the most important thing they're doing is they're saying to the Ukrainian people, we have not forgotten you.
All of the proceeds earned from every showing go right back to various Ukraine organizations. So far, that's over $150,000.
It means a lot to me that people are interested, and it means a lot that people here will actually learn what's been going on for generations, actually for centuries, how Ukraine was oppressed by Russia.
Strauss remains in contact with the film's director and producer, who are unable to leave Ukraine. He says they've relayed that Tuesday's generosity and awareness doesn't go unnoticed.
The fact that it's in a smaller rural state speaks volumes to the Ukrainians. They understand this, and they sometimes ask me, how are you doing this? And the answer is Americans care. And when given the opportunity, they step forward.
In Billings, Phil Van Pelt, MTN News.